Okay, so today's a huge milestone. We are officially halfway through our 90-day coaching program, and we're at step 6, which is trademarking. We want to trademark because it protects our brand name on and off of Amazon for the product that we're going to be putting it on. You also need a registered or at least a pending trademark in order to get Amazon brand registry approval, which is also required to actually list your product and to use your brand name. So we'll be discussing that today, exactly how you can do that. And we can save you a lot of money by doing it yourself. So what is a trademark? Again, this is our brand name. So a trademark is typically seen through these two symbols. TM right here means that somebody intends to trademark that brand name or they have a pending registration. And the second one here is the registered. This means that trademark has been approved by the USPTO and is registered in that country. As far as what a trademark is, the formal definition is that it can be any word, phrase, symbol, design, or even a combination of all of these that identifies your good or services. So there are two types of trademark. There is the standard word character mark, which we'll be focusing on today. So let's say we wanted to trademark this Meow brand name. We could absolutely go and do that within a specific international trademark class and ID. And then the second option is to create a logo, which you may be more familiar with seeing. That is called a design or logo mark. So we could go ahead and we can do a combination and still follow suit with this. We could say that our brand name is still Meow, but this is our logo that represents that trademark. So you need to ask yourself, am I looking to create a logo for my brand name, or do I just want to go ahead and to trademark the name itself? And then you can get even creative with this, and change the font size. It really doesn't matter. So if you do go the route of creating your logo or your design mark, there are some restrictions on what that design mark should look like and appear on your USPTO application. So I just want to run through this with you quick if you have intentions of doing that. The length and width should be a maximum of 944 pixels, and the file format should be a JPG or JPEG format, which is under 5 megabytes. And that's very important because if you upload a PNG file, let's just say, which is very common for graphic designers, that will end up being rejected on your application and you'll have to resubmit that logo. Additionally, there's some other requirements here. Just use as little white space as you can. So we'll play around with the length and width here in a second to show you what that would look like. Remove any TM or registered symbols from the logo. You cannot do that yet. You'll do that later on once you have your trademark actively approved. All right, and then keep things simple. Again, do not use a PNG or PDF file. And then if your logo includes design elements, you'll need to upload an image of the logo as part of your application, which I'm going to show you today. All right, let's get into it. That's enough with the slides, right? So this is time where we need to brainstorm what our trademark is, what our brand name is going to be. We're going to be using an AI function today, or you can just use, from the top of your head, if you have an idea of what you want the design logo to look like or what the brand name should be, by all means, we can skip past the AI part or the brainstorming exercise, and you can jump right to the trademarking application. I will also show you in between here, for those that do want to create a logo or design mark, I'll show you a free service that you can use, and you can create your logo and use thousands upon thousands of free templates in order to do that. So let's go ahead, let's brainstorm what our trademarked brand name is going to be. I'm going to jump over to the app that I built for all beginner Amazon sellers and experienced Amazon sellers, and that is called Seller Buddy. You can access this by going to www.sellerbuddy.app. You can access this on your phone as a mobile application, through your web browser, or even on your computer as you're seeing here. So let's go over to the bottom right-hand corner here where it says AI. And this is a chat bot that I created in which you can work with that is extremely intelligent when it comes to selling on Amazon. And even questions that don't relate to Amazon, it still has capabilities of doing that. So let's ask Seller Buddy AI, think of 10 brand names for my product. And then we're going to put what my product is. That is the golf head cover with a whiskey glass and cigar logo. All right, we'll click go and we'll see what it comes up with. This is a great way to quickly identify something that is catchy, something that maybe has a pun in it. And the reason why you want to do this is because the more attractive or the more compelling your brand name is to customers, you may have a better conversion rate. I don't have statistics to support this, but I'd rather purchase a product that captures my attention or relates to the product versus one that doesn't relate to the product or one that isn't, flashy in some way. So Seller Buddy quickly came up with in seconds 10 different brand names. I would remove anything that's very general, such as cover or golf in this scenario. So keep that in mind when you're looking through this. So some trademarks that we could consider: swing and sip, that ties into the whiskey glass; links and liquor. If you're not familiar with golf links is a core style, so that's pretty creative. Fairway and firewater, tea time tumbler, golf and glen. So there's some great trademarked brand names in here. That is one way you can go about this. Otherwise, just think on the top of your head what you want that brand name to be. Okay, so once you have your brand name, I'm not going to use one of these just because I already have my brand name of Vivere in mind. We need to go ahead, before we even get to our trademark application, and to check to see if anyone else in the United States trademark patent system is actively using this trademark, or at least is in the process of registering it. So to do that, you'll see a link down in the description if you're watching this on YouTube, or if you're on the course, check out the link that's at the bottom of this video. Go to USPTO.gov, otherwise, trademarks/search, and you'll see this green button. Go ahead and select this. And now we need to search for that trademark name. So for us, I'm going to type in Vivere. I'm going to click search. And now what you want to look for is, I typically take off the dead, because that means it's no longer an active trademark. And then I'll keep the live, which includes registered trademarks and pending. Now what I'm looking for is the identical logo or the identical word mark, depending on what you want to do for the class that I'm interested in. Now you're probably asking yourself the question, what international trademark class am I? It looks like there's, just a dozen different classes that we have to be aware of. And I don't plan to look through all 1,295 of these. So what I recommend doing is going back to Seller Buddy, or even you can even use Google for this, and say, what international trademark class should I use for a golf head cover product? Now, this is the first time I'm testing this out. I'm not sure if it's going to be able to do this, but it looks like it did. So we should use International Trademark Class 28, which is specifically for games and playthings, including golf head covers. Excellent. So that works for me. I'll come back here. I'm just going to select International Trademark Class 28. So this brings up a good point as far as what these classes are. So whenever you trademark something, you're not just trademarking the name and to prevent anyone from using that name. You are trademarking it for a specific class or categories of products, let's just call it, and its specific use. So if we go ahead and we trademark this product in class 28 for golf head covers ID, if we find one, that is only good for that type of product. I cannot go ahead and use it for an automotive part or a new car wheel that I plan to sell on Amazon. It doesn't work like that. So you have to trademark it for that class and specific use and purpose. What I'll do now is I'll scroll through all these 103 results, could be less, substantially less for you or more, and see if there's any within class 28 that is actively trademarked Vivere. Okay, so I've gone through this entire list and I did not find one live or pending application for the trademark Vivere. So at this point, this gives me assurance that I can go ahead and I can apply for this trademark successfully. I will say at this point, if you did come across one trademark that is identical to the one that you're looking for in the trademark international class that is suitable for you, or if it's even somewhat close, I would recommend that you stay away from that trademark and to go back to the drawing board and brainstorm a new brand name. The reason why is because if there's just a minute difference in that trademark, the USPTO attorney that is going to review your application may tell you to do something or send you a notice of action, and it's just gonna become a headache. So save yourself some time. Make sure that no one else is using that trademark, whether it's live or pending. That way you can rest assured that your application will proceed and officially be approved. Okay, so next I'm going to share with you how you can go ahead and create your logo for free. I will say if you are going to do the standard character mark, which is what I recommend doing, honestly, you can jump ahead to the trademark ID manual part of this video, or if you're interested in learning about logo, you can stay tuned. So go to canva.com. This is a free resource that you can use, and you can click create a design. What we'll do here is we'll go down to custom size, and then we'll type in 900 pixels for the width and 900 pixels for the height. Remember this, there are certain requirements for this. It cannot be above, I think it's 944 pixels on one side. So 900 is a good value for it still to be clear, high resolution, yet still within those parameters. Let's click create a new design. And then here's where we can get creative with our logo. Simply, you can just type in logo into the design tab, and then it's going to show you all of these interesting and very creative logos that you can use. So let's say for our product, we like something that's urban and catchy like this. It already has the font style and the color coordination already outlined, and we can go ahead and we can click this and type in Vivere. So for our logo, I'm going to delete this. This could just be our logo. It's simple enough, right? It's the word Vivere, but it has some type of character and font element and color element to it that we want to protect. So I recommend, if you have no design in mind, just type in logo. You can even type in something like, for us, just type in golf logo. And now we have thousands of different golf logos that we can use as a template. We can individualize it and customize it as we wish and just make our lives that much easier. All right. One thing is remove a background. Make sure this is a white background just to make things a little bit simpler. And then we can go ahead and we can export this. So to download and export it, in the upper right-hand corner, click Share. Go down to Download. And then this is a very important part. Make sure you change this file type from PNG to JPG for JPEG. And then we'll boost the quality up to 100. And then we can go and click Download. If you're using the free version, you may not have all those parameters, but you can at least change it to a JPEG file format. And then we'll go to our downloads. We'll find the file here and make sure that this is less than 5,000 kilobytes or 5 megabytes, which it well is. We can double click it, and there we go. That's our logo. So this is what we'll use. We'll keep this in our downloads folder or somewhere on our computer. And we're going to upload this on our USPTO application if we were to go down the logo route. All right, on to the final step before we can officially apply. Trust me, just going through this process and all these preliminary steps will save us a lot of time when we get to the application, and you'll be able to fill out this application within 10 to 15 minutes after watching my tutorial. So the next part and the final piece of this puzzle is we have to go ahead and we have to find our trademark ID or our trademark identification. This ID takes the class, the international trademark class, into consideration, and then it finds the specific purpose and use for your product. The reason why we want to look this up ahead of time is because there's two different application types. There's T's and the T's plus. And the reason why we want to look this up in advance is because if there is an existing trademark ID that we can use, meaning that our product's been trademarked before, at least the use or the practice of it, that will allow us to save over $100 versus creating an entirely new trademark ID. So it'll make more sense when we get to that part of the application. But for now, all we have to do is to type in what our product is, click search, and no records found. Do we panic at this point? No, we do not. This is not an issue. More than likely, you're either too specific of what your product is, or you're using keywords that, again, may be too specific or may not accurately represent what your product is. So what I'm going to do is, I think this word head is triggering no records found. So my product is still a golf cover. It protects the driver golf club. So I'm going to type in golf cover here. If that doesn't work, I'll type in golf club cover. So you may have to get a little creative with this. Excellent. Look at that. So we have a couple here, actually. We have head covers for golf clubs. We have golf club head covers, covers for golf clubs, golf club covers. You can see they're all in that trademark class number 28 as shown here. All right, so now what you have to do at this point is to select one of these trademark ID classes that apply most specifically to your product and to its use. For us, I do like this golf club head covers, and it's also in the correct Toys and Sporting Goods International Trademark class. So I'm going to write this number down, this term ID, 028-4192. Now, with that being said, if I were to use a different one that also relates to my product, like this one right here, head covers for golf clubs, 028-143, I really don't think there would be any issue, regardless of which one I use. As long as that term ID relates directly to my product, you really have the freedom to use whatever one you want. Now, in the slim chance that there wasn't anything that popped up, even after you've messed around with the keywords, and you can't find a ID that represents your product, or if you're selling a very new or novel product that has a very specific new use, you may have to go ahead and to go with the T's standard application, which comes with a higher cost of about $100 more, and you will end up creating your own term ID here and your own description of what your product's use is. Nothing to worry about, but make sure you don't bend the rules here. In that scenario, don't go ahead and just, all right, I'm just going to select this one just because, they'll never know. Trust me, the USPTO attorney that reviews your application will know. They are always smarter than us. So make sure you go ahead. If you can't find one, use the other application, which I'll show you here next. Excellent. So we're finally on to the application itself. Now that we've brainstormed a brand name that we plan to trademark, we've also searched it to make sure it wasn't actively or pending as an application currently. And then lastly, we also found a term ID, a trademark ID that we'll be able to use on our application. So there's two ways of doing this, specifically for Amazon sellers. If you want to just have Amazon and their service partners do this for you, and what I mean by service partners is a legal practice. They have partnerships with legal practices that will go ahead, they'll take your brand name, and they will do the entire application on your behalf. Now, the catch here is it's $1,000 to $1,500 on average from the students I've mentored. So it comes with added cost compared to doing it yourself, but you can at least rest assured that you don't have to worry about doing this. Now, what I plan to teach you is how you can do it yourself. You do not have to be a lawyer or an attorney to do this. You can absolutely trademark your own brand name absolutely by yourself, and it should only cost you $250 if there's an existing trademark ID. If not, it's going to cost you $350. Not a big deal. Okay, so what I want you to do is to go to the USPTO website, and that is at www.uspto.gov/trademarks/apply. If you have a USPTO.gov account, we can quickly go to the Trademark Center beta here, and we can go with the application. If not, you will have to create your own USPTO.gov account, and you also have to verify your identity. To do that, you can see right here, it says you will need to create a USPTO.gov account. Click that hyperlink, and then you're going to be asked a series of questions regarding your personal information. I'm not going to take time to really go through this application since I have an account, and it's fairly straightforward. If you're part of the 90-day program, feel free to reach out to me with any questions or concerns that you have with this. All right, so at this point, let's say you have your account set up. It takes a matter of minutes. Go ahead and click this Trademark Center Beta green button. Now, this is a beta program which they plan on, I think, enrolling more so next year. In the past, it was a different format, and this is the new format. So I'll make sure you're working with the most up-to-date information. Fortunately for us, we've already searched the trademark database, and now it's time to apply to register a trademark. So we'll click this middle one. And this will bring up a new tab, and this is the start of our application. Now, I'm very happy that they started out with this, and it's something I want to mention, which is in bold right here. Be cautious if anyone contacts you about your trademark. Whenever you put all this information in your application, it becomes public information, at least the majority of it. So if someone wants to scam you and they want to send you a common scam, as you can go ahead and you can click here and see, they can go ahead and send you mail saying, hey, you need to pay another $1,000 to complete your trademark registration. And a lot of people, sadly, they fall for that. The USPTO will only reach out to you by email, and they will have a .gov domain for their email. Only please, only reach out to them directly. And if you receive any information, always vet it and try to understand, is this coming from the USPTO? They won't be sending you mail. They're going to be sending you an email letting you know there's a notice of action or confirmation of filing your application. So make sure you understand that completely, read through all that and really understand it, because the last thing I want you to do is to succumb to one of these scams. So we'll click I agree, and we'll move on to the first step here. Now, this is the application selection. This is what I've been mentioning. There's TEAS Plus and TEAS Standard. There's two different types of applications for two different types of people. So the TEAS Plus comes with the $250 per class of goods and services, while TEAS Standard is $350. We've already verified with the Trademark Identification Manual that there is a term ID that relates to our product's use. So we can go ahead and we can move forward with the TEAS Plus. All right, we'll click continue. And then who is the owner? This is the trademark owner, which is yourself or maybe multiple people. If you're an individual and you're not trademarking this on behalf of your business, select individual. Otherwise, you can select another entity, such as your LLC or maybe a partnership that you have. I think for the majority of people, you will have a business set up at this point. So let's go ahead and let's enter that business information. We'll put United States, that's where the business is at. And then this is a limited liability company, which I own. The owner name, this is not the business name. This is who you are or whoever owns the business. Type in debt to dollars since this is a test application, and then the state will be Texas. And then we'll scroll down to the mailing address. This is the owner's mailing address, and this will become public information, just keep in mind. That's one thing I love about this trademark beta program, this application beta program, is that they're telling you a lot of this information when in the past it would be fine print or they just wouldn't tell you. And people would be taken back by, why am I receiving all this information through the mail to my personal mailing address? So I just want you to be aware, this will be public, just so you know. All right, and the one last thing I'll say on this is that this can be a PO box, by the way, but this next section cannot be a PO box. This should be where you actually reside, your principal address. So go ahead and type that in. If it is the same, you can just click the mailing address above is the same. That way you don't have to type it all in again. All right, other information, type in your email address. Now, I will say that this phone number is optional. I would encourage you not to actually put your phone number in here unless you don't have an email that you check on the regular, such as this one, and your primary means of communication is through your phone. If you do put your phone number in here, your application, this is publicly viewable, and that's why I advise you not to put it in there. But if you do, then the USPTO can call you with updates, as well as if you receive a notice of action or when it's finally approved. So I'm not going to add anything in there. I'm going to click continue. All right, this brings us to the contact information section. This should already be populated with your owner's name and also the owner's email address shown here. And then it will ask you, would you like us to send courtesy copies of official communication to other email addresses? So if you have different partners you're working with, maybe you want them to be notified when your application moves through different stages, or if there's any communication, this is a great place to put that in there. Since I'm a single member LLC, I'm going to put no, since I'm the only party that really needs to know about this application. Okay, click continue. And here's where we enter our trademark details. So I love how they do this now. It's very self-explanatory. It also provides examples of logos. It's asking you, what do you want to protect? Do you want to protect that standard character word format? Or do you have a stylized type of font you want to use, or design, or in other words, a logo? For our example, I want to protect wording alone, since no one was using Viva Ray in that international trademark class. If you do go with a logo or a design mark or stylized wording, the USPTO system is going to ask you to upload that image, and that is the Viva Ray image, for example, that we made. So this is that logo that you just created. You would upload this file and just double check that it's a JPEG format. Okay, so we'll click continue, and it's going to ask us what our name is going to be. Enter the exact wording of your trademark. Be sure that what you are using or intend to use with your goods and services. You can't make material changes to the trademark after submitting your application. This is it. You and the keyboard, make sure you enter in the correct information, exactly how you want it to be capitalized or worded. All of that will play a part in your design mark or your standard character mark. One thing I'll also note here is once I type in Viva Ray, I'll put it all capitalized letters. You don't have to worry about putting the TM symbol or registered symbol. You do that later on once your application has moved through the process. All right, so Viva Ray, there's no additional spaces or periods. So I just want to make sure that's exactly spelled correctly. Click continue. And then we're going to ask a set of questions here for translation. Does your trademark contain any words in a language other than English? Now, for me, the answer is yes here, so I will go through that. But I'd say 9 times out of 10 for you, if you're using an English word and it doesn't have a translation or originates in another language, go ahead, click no, and you can click continue. All right, next is name and likeness consent. Does your trademark contain the name, portrait, likeness, or signature of a person? These include nicknames, stage names, or pseudonyms. No, it does not. So just make sure you're not using a signature of LeBron James, for example, and putting it as your trademark, because that is the likeness for LeBron James and not for you to use. So click no and click continue. Okay, and on to the filing basis, and we're nearing the end here, and this is a very important part. This is also a section that a lot of my students tend to pause at, and they reach out to me and they say, hey, which one do I select? So for your awareness, a filing basis is the legal reason listed in the Trademark Act under which you are submitting your trademark application. What does that mean? It means how is your trademark currently being used, or how do you intend to use it? And again, I cannot say enough. I'm not being endorsed by USPTO, but It's night and day the difference from the old application to this. So they state very clearly here, you will select this section 1A if you're already using this brand name or trademark in commerce. So let's say you were already on Amazon, you were selling this product, or you were selling it in a retail store, you'd want to select 1A. Now, the one that's probably more common for most of you is section 1B, which is you have intent to use. This means that you have not used your mark in commerce or retail yet, but you intend to in the near future. So for us, and what I imagine for yourself, you want to select 1B. The other options here is if there's multiple filing bases, so if kind of both relate to you, or if you have a foreign filing basis. I'm not experts in those areas by any means, so you may have to look into some more information on that or consult with an attorney on what's best for you. All right, we'll click section 1B, click continue. And now we need to go back to the identified goods and services through that term ID that we copied previously. Now, I will say, just take a look on the right-hand side here, because we can always go back and adjust this now at this point, but once we click review and sign and we pay, we won't be able to. So just make sure that your logo or your mark is shown here and it is correct. This is my standard character mark, and the font will be the same for all the standard character marks, and that is correct, Vivere. All right, so what we can do here is we can either type in the term ID or we can go through that trademark ID manual process that we did previously. I would recommend, since we wrote down the term ID, go ahead and either copy paste that or type it in exactly as it was shown. We'll click search, and voila, there we go. Class 28, confirm that it's the right class. Description, golf club head covers, which it is. We can go ahead and click add. What's nice about this application on the right-hand side is as we begin to add different classes and trademark IDs, it will show us our total cost so we don't get to the end and we're like, oh my gosh, $1,000, why is that? One thing I'll mention is that we can go ahead and we can add as many trademark IDs within a class and still pay this $250. However, as soon as we go to a different trademark class, so let's say 27, I'm just going to click a random one here and I click add. Now we can see that we have two classes here and we have a total cost of $500. So if you're trademarking your brand name across multiple classes, it's going to stack up $250 per class. However, on the other hand, let's type in golf cover. We can go and add multiple ones within this class. Golf club covers, covers for golf clubs, head covers for golf clubs. And although we've added all these goods and services, it's still a total cost of $250. Now, I'm not an attorney. I'm not sure if that's the best strategy to go and add all the goods and services that relate to your product within the same class, or if it's best just to select one. I'll leave that up to you and what you want to do. All right, we'll scroll down. Just make sure all of your identification, your IDs here are described, and it contains all the ones that we selected above. We'll click continue. And this is some additional information. Check any of these options that apply to you. There are words or phrases in my trademark that I want to disclaim. No, none of these should really apply to you. There are words or phrases in my trademark that have industry specific meaning. No, do, no, and no. So we'll come down here to continue, click that again, and we are at one of the final stages, and that is to review our application. Do not just click continue and say, everything I did at this point is correct. It's very easy to make a mistake, especially as you're watching my tutorial, you're jumping back to the application, and so forth. So click contact information, and then look through all of your information, double check it, because this information will become public, and you also want to make sure that you receive the emails and that your email address is correct. Go through the trademark details, make sure that is exactly what you want it to look like, if it's a design or a standard character mark, and then go to goods and services. Just double check that these are the four goods and services that we want to register in trademark class 28. All right, we'll click continue at this point. So we'll be asked the signature method, and we can either sign directly, we can send this application to someone else to sign. That's typically if you're doing this on behalf of somebody, or you can upload your signed declaration. Keep it simple, click sign directly, and then we can come down here. We're going to have to check all these. I encourage you to read what all these mean, but they're really just disclaimers and things that you have to agree to in order to proceed with your application. All right, now down to the signature. USPTO is a little bit weird, but you have to use the / and then you enter your name. It has to be the format and how you'd sign it. So down here you can see You can put your full name, such as John Doe, or you can put your initials, JD, or JD, and some type of number code there. So it's whatever you use for your signature. I'm just going to put JE for my signature, and then make sure you close it, and that red alert will go away. Date signed, today's date, and then we'll put our name. So don't just put JE here, type in your full name. All right, the last step is, what is your position? Our position is the owner. That is the trademark owner. If you're a joint owner, put owners, or there's some other examples here that you can look at. And finally, click continue. And then the last step is to click pay now. So we should only expect to pay $250 to the USPTO for this. And then as soon as you pay now, you'll either receive your confirmation on the next page, which also includes your serial number. Make sure you write down that serial number and keep that in a safe place, or copy and paste it into a Word document or something, because that's what we'll use for our Amazon brand registry application. Additionally, you should receive an email within an hour or so from the USPTO.gov with that serial number and also the confirmation of your filing.